Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Always Be Testing podcast. I'm your host, DeGrange, and I'm really excited to have Danielle Sakher today. Danielle, how you doing?
Hi, Ty. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's great to see you again. It's been a moment.
Likewise, so good to see you, and thanks so much for having me.
Glad to have you. I think everybody today's in for a treat. Danielle is leading go-to-market for Remy, part of Mind Studio, one of the great AI builder tools out there, which she's going to tell you all about. So lots to learn, lots to talk about in the AI world, in the growth world, and go to market. So it's going to be a great, great episode. Danielle, maybe give us a little background on what exactly it is you're building, so we could get into, what you're being tasked there and how you're approaching it.
Yeah, will do. Happy to. We are building Remy. Remy is the platform for organizations to build their software instead of buying their software. It is a platform where you can build full stack applications for your team, your department, your organization, without having to stitch together different services for hosting or auth or databases. Everything happens all in one place and makes it really easy for non-technical users as well as developers to build all in one platform. So really excited about the Remy launch. We are just past our alpha stage, and I can talk a little bit about more about how that went and
Yeah,
what's ahead in
very cool.
beta. Just really excited about what's ahead.
I love that. And what are some of those use cases? You kind of alluded to it, like you're kind of
Yeah.
in this interesting in between layer of like not super like heavy power user, but not the beginner vibe coder.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look
Yeah.
like, and what are you finding the use cases are?
Yeah, and actually you put it almost perfectly there, right? Is there's this category out there in the market of tools for professional coders, for developers, the anti-gravities, the cursors, codex, Claude Code. Then there's vibe coding tools that are really easy to use, but are more amateur or hobbyist tools, the Levables, the Replit, the Bolts. Remy's right in the middle and really designed for enterprises, organizations of uh, small for sure, but definitely in that medium to large sweet spot that need more observability on what's going on within their organization, who's building what, need more security controls. There's a lot that when Remy's building an app, it's going to do and it's going to output that you're not going to get from some of these other, these vibe coding tools that are out there in the market. And can talk a little bit more about that as we get
Yeah,
along here. But that's at a high level what the market's looking like
yeah.
right now and where we
It,
are in it.
it's crazy because there's such an explosion right now of talk about Claude, adoption of Claude, talk about
Yeah.
Lovable, Replit, and you've got like big names and competition, and this is exciting times in this world that you're in.
Yeah.
I am curious about the kind of professional level. How do you define that kind of being like, why are those products and then there's probably a simple answer, like how do you kind of define
hmm
those levels for people in
hmm
those different use cases?
Yeah, I think like maybe it's best articulated with a story, like a conversation I had recently with one of our customers or one of our users. She's a partner at a PE firm. They're small to medium sized firm. They've got about six assets under management. The companies that they acquire around like 5 to 50 million in revenue a year. They've got some interesting portcos that they work with, and she was building out with Claude Code a tool that would help the portcos just like up level their competitive intelligence, their biz dev activities, without kind of having to adopt a bunch of different tools and figure out how to use them. It would be something that was plug and play and all in one place. She had
Mhm.
spent about a month trying to build this out with Claude Code, going back and forth. And she mentioned, 50 to 100 times different iterations. And I was like, hey, like you've already tried this with Cloud Code. Amazing. Why don't you give Remy a go? Remy got to where Cloud Code got in a day. And you can imagine with like more iterations,
Wow.
it gets somewhere even better if you just spent a little bit more time with it. So that was really exciting to see from just like the speed. And that's kind of by design. Like Remy um, has design principles and architecture principles and integrations that it's leveraging, that really produce more high quality, more production grade products right off the bat. And what she's also going to get, she's in financial services, right? Highly regulated industry. Remy is going to output for every app at the state of publishing. It's going to put out audit logs. It's going to give you a cybersecurity schema framework for each application. You're going to have that level of observability of who's using this app. You'll have security and governance audits on the app itself. It'll tell you how it was built and what data it's leveraging and not leveraging, and all the details that IT is surely going to be asking about in short order for any tool that your team's using. You'll have like a cake attestation, like so many different things that are pumped out at the bat because it knows what like we know that for organizations right now, it's like a nightmare, right? People are adopting all these different AI tools. They're maybe using personal accounts or not. Maybe they are piping sensitive data in there, and it's just it's a really difficult management and oversight issue right now. And what we've designed Remy to do is be that solution for organizations who need that observability and need that level of control, which means we're horizontal, but we're seeing a lot of really great
Yeah.
traction with financial
I,
services, with like nonprofits who deal with sensitive information, governments as well. So it's been exciting to
I've
see so far.
got to give you props. I don't think cake attestation is the first time that's been dropped on the pod, so you get extra bonus points for
Really,
that.
hopefully the last. I'm like,
what
this is like the anyway.
what was it in that
Not my
use case
area of interest.
in that use case you described for that PE firm? Like, what do you think, and in others
Yeah,
as well? Like, what do you think is
yeah,
that? You don't have to obviously give the whole secret sauce, nor is it
yeah.
possible. But like, what's the thing that you think led to that better outcome? If you could probably guesstimate or try to share a little bit more behind the curtain with the audience.
Yeah, yeah. And Ty, is this an audio pod or is this video as well?
Both, both.
Both. Okay, amazing. So am I able to show some stuff as well?
Yeah, if you'd like. Yeah,
Okay, amazing. Maybe I will. I will just need a moment to pull it up. Is that okay?
no
Can we
worries.
pause for
Yeah,
like a
it's
half
kind of
half a beat
similar
here?
like a Zoom or Google Meet.
Amazing.
We can talk we can talk without it feeling like it's live, if you will. Our editor can take out, but basically the bottom middle button, share and share
I see
away
it
and
there.
chat.
Amazing. Okay, you can give me a second here, and I'm going to just pull up a couple things, just because it's a little not doing a full demo by any means, but just just because it's hard to articulate these things and easier to show it sometimes. So it's gonna just take a few more seconds here.
No problem.
Thank you so much. Okay, Ty. So your question was, why does Remy push such a better output than some of the more hobbyist vibe coding tools that are out there? So
Well, yeah.
I just pulled,
Also, with the PE firm, you mentioned like the Claude Code example. So just very curious about that.
yeah, absolutely. So this is an app that I built actually. This is because I've been on a total like FIFA craze and live near a
Love
host
it.
city. I was like, where are all the watch parties? I like want to be with all the crowds and all the good
Love it.
vibes. So I built like a watch party finder for Toronto.
Amazing.
So if anyone wants a link for that, I can share that. We've only got a couple days
Yes.
left here, but
I
in any
love
case,
that.
uh, Thank you. So, what Remy did is consult so many different agents as it was going through the build of this, right? So it, and I'll just go a little bit backwards here, but you can see all the different, and where are we here? All the different commands it
So you can
took
see the
to,
live code.
yeah, you can see the
You can
live
see the
code. If
process it was built.
yeah,
You can select
totally. So
agents.
and this was like a fix that I asked it for, like as it got along, and it put together, even just for one fix, it put together a spec that I could annotate, that I could um, comment on, that I could refine before it actually went to build it. So that no assumptions are being made, right, and we don't have to go back and forth, a dozen times to
Yeah,
articulate the right thing. So lots of, and
very
here's
cool.
my yeah, all the different agents that it's consulting. It's done like it has an entire design agent that goes and puts together branding and uh, different
Very cool.
different notes.
Very
And it
cool.
also shows off,
Yeah,
where's my product roadmap agent, and thinks about different things it should build later on and puts actually a full roadmap together. So it's just doing a lot more
very
up front, and
cool.
it's thinking like a PM instead of thinking like an engineer or a coder.
That's huge. I find that interesting. I like the building block. I like the kind of logical flow, and I like
Yeah.
the that you can see different aspects of it. I think the thinking like a PM hits. So that's super helpful. One of the things
Yeah.
that you said we kind of joked about the nomenclature, the technical stuff that some of the audience is going to go, "What the heck is that?" But
Yeah.
it's obviously germane because you're talking about technology, you're talking about building technology, which can get pretty complex, and some of these vibe coding entry level things are not going to cut it. um, I don't know, there's a little stretch because it's like off script, but like when it, the it was at Alex Karp, and I think some of the hype that's being created right now around what are you giving to the LLMs, right? And we don't need to go into all the details of that, but is there some aspects of what you guys are doing in terms of enabling control and privacy? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but how does that, like, controversial or great take, however you want to land on it, relate or not relate to what you guys are building? Because I think it's pretty topical right now with regard to AI tooling and
Hmm.
the feedback loops that these builders are giving to these tools. And
Hmm.
if that's a one you want to pass on, I also understand.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, like we meet the organization where they're at, right? We have some orgs that we work with that are super AI friendly and understand that, there's kind of more to gain from the LLMs going and doing their thing and running different processes or building
Yep.
applications, versus like, okay, like the competitive, like, there's usually the competitive threat that you're scared that giving your data to these models is going to somehow lead to some competitive threat down the line, with trade secrets or whatnot. Or there's the threat that, a competitor is going to just do it and be ahead of you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's two sides of the same coin there, I think. I think, like, obviously, there are certainly, regulated industries. This is not
Yeah.
legal advice, right? Like
Of
you got
course
to make
not.
sure that you're in compliant with whatever your organization
Yeah.
guidelines are or your
Yep.
industry's guidelines are. But I think for the most part, we're seeing a lot. Like the organizations we work with are really excited about the different capabilities that are possible,
Yep.
with our platform, with models more broadly. And I think too that there's a lot that you can do without touching any of your data, right? Like you can, like, we've built tools that, like an example, like we have a tool to find different influencers um, and content creators that we might want to work with and might want to partner with. The only information we've really given that app is just like who it is we are, and then it's going and doing the work of like scraping the web and whatever else, to find creators that might be a good fit. And any information that we've given it is just public domain anyway. So there's a lot of things that you can build without relinquishing that level of control and that level of maybe sensitive data that
Yeah.
our organizations might be
Yep.
concerned about.
Yeah. I'm very fascinated by the concept, and I think there's the movement is going to continue to be topical and be important where, companies are going to demand or aim for levels of privacy and protection. And
Yeah.
I think you're offering some pretty exciting things there. One of the things you talked about a little bit, we talked a little about like cost, and this has been a huge pain point in conversation, even for our team of like,
Hmm.
for us, it hasn't, we've kept it manageable, but I know a lot of people,
Hmm.
there's a lot of news around it. As token usage goes up, as price goes up,
Yeah.
as some of the flavors of, oh my gosh, you're back to almost wanting to hire more people as opposed to more
Yeah.
AI, uh, you know, compute. How do you guys think about that, and how are you sort
Yeah.
of supporting it?
Totally. And candidly, I don't know that we've figured it out in terms of like a pricing and packaging conversation. Like I think
Yeah.
that in general, SaaS is having a bit of a weird moment right now,
Yep.
and that's cool.
Yep.
We'll figure it out. We'll make mistakes along the way, and that's fine. Um, like there's so many different models out there. There's like companies that are creating whole like credit economies and different things that are so difficult to understand and are not standardized. And I don't know how I feel about all that stuff. But all that to say, I think like um, now with AI, there are things that are possible that were never possible to certain segments of the market, right? Like building an application was not accessible to like the solopreneur in very recent history, right? Like someone who, like you'd need to raise money or you need to be individually wealthy, or be willing to take on a bunch of credit card debt to build an application,
Yeah.
if you were a solopreneur, right? So what that means now, like with AI now, you can build an app, you can build a kind of maybe a lander with a Replit or a Lovable for a few bucks. You can use Remy and build a production grade application for, 50, 100, maybe 200 bucks. Um, that's that's a price point that didn't exist in this market before. Like
Yeah.
that just wasn't possible. That would maybe get you like 200 bucks would maybe be 1 hour of like a dev's time to like look at your spec or like talk to you, and
Crazy.
like even consider taking on your project. So it's like, it
Building
makes
so
the cost
much.
sensitivity totally,
Yeah.
and it makes the cost sensitivity question like really just like a weird equation now, because like we're comparing like maybe 200 bucks to $5 when like we really should be comparing like a few dollar bills to like the tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars that it would have taken to build. Like think of like an enterprise who'd want to build a legacy tool, like a internal tool or legacy tool, how much that would have cost, like these legacy tools would have costed them, right? Like whether it's people power or to hire an agency, a dev shop, or what have you. We're talking millions,
Yeah.
right? So
Totally.
it's a totally different equation now, and it begs a lot of questions of like, who are you for, and then therefore, how do you cost
Yeah.
this out given what level of service you need to offer?
What, when you think about like the ideal customers, and we kind of started a little bit with this in terms of the segments of where it's at, and
Hmm.
you know, I'm curious to know where your thoughts are, especially as it's, the market and the tech is moving so quickly. How do you and the team think about that when you're leading go to market?
Yeah, things are moving so quickly, and there's all this different like new tools that come out every week. There's hype around certain tools. There's a lot of pivoting that we need to do as well in terms of like who are we for. So it's a lot. It's a lot to manage. We've had different people show up as we've launch different iterations of our product. Some of those people are enterprises. We've had New York Times, Upwork. We have a lot of really great enterprises that we partner with. Some of them are governments. We've been working really closely with the UK government over the years. Some are like enterprise professionals trying to like launch a side hustle. Some are agencies, consultants, like full-time entrepreneurs. Like it's really tricky, and you want to we can be for everyone, but it's also really hard to be for everyone, because of everything we just talked about, whether it's pricing, whether it's service level, whether it's the types of features that are the coming back to
Yeah,
cake, right? Like a solopreneur doesn't care about that or doesn't need to care about that for a very long time. So it's it's we're right in the middle of it. I think of like we know that we're building an enterprise product. We know that there are like enterprises have showed up and gotten a lot of value out of it. And it's kind of on our team to make sure that we are not getting distracted by other segments of the market that are loving our tool, want to use us, are asking for more, giving us feature requests. We love all that. We have such a strong community, but we also can't let that distract us because ultimately, no matter how AI enabled we are and how many amazing applications are helping us in our work, like everyone has limited resources. So we just really have to stay focused and
totally.
not get overly excited by positive
Yeah.
signals that are from the wrong people.
Well, what I appreciate, Danielle, is like I think you have there's a level at which you've clearly kind of done the thoughtfulness and done the research and talked to the customers, and I think that's where the magic lies with being a PM and being a go to market, and also that's what you're touting you're doing, which is huge. So I'm appreciative of that. I can tell that you've done your homework there.
As much as we can.
We've talked a lot about exactly, but there's always more to do. It's never done.
Totally,
Speaking of growth,
totally.
never done. Growth cycles have been collapsing, right? We've got, we've talked about this a little bit. How do you get efficient ROAS? How do you grow? As you
Mm-hmm.
think about distribution, you think about go to market, and as I alluded to at the beginning, I mean, you're going up against like crazy heavy hitters here that are getting a lot of distribution out there. As a growth leader, like how do you tackle that?
Yeah, we kind of like if you can't beat them, join them in a way. So there's all these different tools out there. Each one kind of has there's a lot that are getting their 15 minutes of fame, so to speak. And it's kind of our job to have a perspective on these things and know how these things work, know how they can complement our platform, know how they are different from our platform, and for us to be able to communicate that. And we got to do that anyway. So we might as well share and educate folks because the demand for AI education right now is like, I don't know. You might argue it's more than the demand even for like the software and the tech, right? Because if you don't know what this stuff is, then how are you going to be able to make a buying decision?
Yeah, yeah.
So
I
in
mean, I was
any
just
case, what?
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh no, please.
No, I was just gonna say, like when you were talking earlier, it was very paramount. Became very apparent, rather, that you can kind of make a killing and be very useful by just helping organizations navigate this situation and letting them know which tooling they need to use when, how, like
Hmm.
your specific tool literally is part of that decisioning, and it's wildly underutilized at this time, in my opinion.
Totally, totally. I'll finish the point I was making earlier in a second here, but to that point, we have at some points our go-to-market motion has looked like very much like an agency or like a pro serve motion, and not because we want to be a pro serve business or that we really want to do a ton of professional services, but almost because it was required to even just to kind of mask all of the things that are confusing right now to organizations and overwhelming really smart people and really smart professionals who just can't make sense of everything that's going on just because of the speed and how quickly everything's moving. So we almost had to like just not even sell the tech or even mention the tech at times, of just like leading with our expertise and that we're building the space and that we've got you, we'll figure it out, we'll use our technology, but rest assured you guys don't need to worry about hiring someone to figure out how to use this stuff, or and not that it's really hard, but almost it's almost just there's what is it like you get so overwhelmed by the level of
Yeah,
information, not necessarily coming
yeah,
from us, but just coming from socials or from the news or whatever, from conversations with colleagues, that you almost can't even make room for even an
yeah.
understanding how to use like
I think
very
you're
simple and
not
basic
alone
tools.
in that. There's so much data to ingest and so much priorities and
Yeah.
change that it's very there's a reasonable amount of overwhelm and just paradox of
Hmm.
choice, which I agree with.
Totally.
We talked a little bit
So
about
to,
how much.
So,
Go ahead.
sorry, Ty. Sorry, just to finish this the conversation on this piece. Something that has worked really well for us is actually hosting like free webinars, free talks on like making sense of the overwhelm, making
Love
sense of
that.
the chaos. States of the unions on AI. We did this when OpenClaw was released. We did this when Claude Code was released. We are now in the middle of doing a bunch of Hermes sessions, where I think we've got like our third one coming out in I think just in a couple of days now, and that has one like helped us gain authority and get our people out there, get our name out there, and be associated with like, hey, like these are folks who are going to help me and help me make sense of these things, and almost to to even get credibility and have people listen to us, we kind of have to talk about what we're building with Remy and everything we're doing here. So it also elicits a little bit of curiosity with folks and leads to MQLs and things that we want to get out of these sessions as well, even though we're not even talking about Remy at the session itself, right? It's like on a totally different topic. So we are not afraid of like other tools getting like their moment in the spotlight. It's an opportunity for us to talk about how they're complementary or how they can work together with Remy, or just like help people make sense of them because this is what we do. And it's led to a lot of really great leads for us. We've got like with these Hermes sessions, we've got like over 1,000 people registered for each of them so far, and it's and like it did help, like even just us posting the recording on our YouTube has helped our YouTube do so many numbers. So it's great, and we'll continue to do that.
Is there a specific hook or something that you think they're getting either pre or during the webinar that's leading to such great, aside from, hey, this topic has a need? Like, I think it's super topical.
Yeah, I think like for folks, they'll see like for myself, right? I'll see something in the news, headline after headline after headline, but it's also surface level, right? You're not actually getting into like, well, what is this and what does this mean for me? The ability to like sit down and have someone who has expertise and has played with the tool, whether like expertise is debatable, right? Because all this is so new. Like, who's really an expert, right? If you've played around with it for like a day, you're now in the top 1 percentile.
Yeah, yeah.
But having someone sit you down for an hour, 2 hours, and just like talk you through what's going on and how what's important, what's not important, is so immensely valuable for people. And that's really the hook. Is like, hey, show up. All you need to do is show up. We'll talk you through it for an hour, and don't take notes. Like, we'll take notes for you. We'll send you all the stuff after. You'll get what you need instead of spending like 2, 3 hours watching a bunch of different videos, reading articles, maybe trying to install this thing on your own, failing, going back to it. Like, just don't do any of that. You can do that if you want, but start by letting us talk you through it, and then you can go and do that experimentation if you want to later.
I love it. I love it. And thinking about go to market growth, obviously SEO, AEO, or GEO, depending on how
Mm-hmm.
you want to describe it, is really
Mm-hmm.
critical right now from what we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
What are the types of experiments what are some of the learnings you've had in that arena? What are some of the experiments you've done there, and how are you thinking about those levers?
We've done a lot of experimentation in the last few months around SEO, AEO. It is really important to us, like really important go-to-market angle for us right now. We have, uh, it's tricky, right? Because I think like there, when you let AI talk about your product, there's like inherent risks, right? Like there's going to be things that it gets wrong from time to time, and I think that in the past has made us um, scared, for lack of a better word, to really like turn on the machine, like turn on the SEO monster that we knew we could build. And I think like as our messaging got crisper, we got less and less scared to do that. And yeah, like we knew what needed to be built. It just had to get turned on. And what it was that needed to be built is like an application that would look at what the top YouTubers in this space, AI YouTubers, tech YouTubers, professional, anyone with kind of like that professional angle that are speaking to knowledge workers and professionals, because these guys have done the work of knowing what is trending and what audiences want to learn about and hear about. So it would look at what they're talking about, tweeting about, making videos about, and create articles around those topics that sometimes will talk about Remy. Sometimes they won't. If it's relevant, it will. If it's not relevant, it won't. But there still be like interstitials through at the kind of like ads throughout the article that would link back and mention, who's behind this blog. And this has just like truly like overnight like our black like our if you look at like our website traffic, it was just like a hockey, like it was here and then now it's here and it stayed here since doing this blog. And we'll have like really interesting, like we've got some listening tools that will find us when people are talking about us or talking about our blog and whatnot. And like really interesting people are reading our blog and posting about it and saying, hey, like these are like, this has replaced
Love
like doom scrolling for me. So like people are getting value out of it too. It's not just like
That's
AEO for the sake of AEO. I think that's like the raw, like that that works for some people, but I feel like that's not really what we're trying to do here. Like we are trying to put out stuff that's valuable and topical and interesting for folks. At the same time, of course, like the traffic is really important and being mentioned in chat tools are really really important. That's where a lot of people are doing their research now. So that's we keep an eye on this like every day. We tweak it like almost every week. One time we tweaked it and it like tanked our traffic and we had to like roll back. Like that was the whole thing. So it's something that is like really top of mind for us and something we're investing in on a daily basis.
Placing your doom scrolling is going to be the title of the podcast. So I love that. It's really important work you're doing.
I know,
God's
right?
work, as
Oh
they say.
man. Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about partner marketing, but like I'm excited to get your perspective on it, given your knowledge of what we do, and
Mm-hmm.
given your knowledge of the space, and just understand kind of how some of the mechanics around it, and how you might think about that lever being such a critical piece for SaaS, and just what
Yeah.
how you're thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, like I've worked at some really amazing companies. I have taken partnership roles at Shopify and Grammarly and Zapier before spending my time here with the Remy team. And in those roles, like I remember I used to spend a lot of time trying to get buy-in from like my dream partner, right? Like this was my dream partner. I'm gonna find a way to get that in, and it might take me 3 months, it might take me 6 months, it might take me a year, but like I'm gonna be that like nagging force. And like there's still a little bit of that in this role now, but um the nice thing about the time and space we're in right now is that there's like a lot new opportunities and a lot of like new problems that potential partners are looking to solve. And I just can't wait 2 years for a partnership announcement anymore, right? Like that's like it's just not like this is like not the cycle that we're in. So I spend a lot less time trying to get buy-in and more time working with partners that where that buy-in is already there or close to being there. Not because I'm lazy, maybe a little bit, but because we just the speed of things demands it. The pace of things demand it right now. So what I do, and I kind of have like a little, matrix matrices can help people sometimes, Kramers can help people sometimes. So it's like, are you solving a problem together, yes or no? And does the partner have a high urgency to solve that problem, yes or no? So I'm looking for the partners that where we can solve a problem and there's high urgency for that problem to be solved. So maybe a couple examples I'll share of partnerships we've launched in the last few months or have been, continue to work in the last few months where that was the case. We have been working really closely with the team at Upwork. Upwork is like the largest freelance talent marketplace out there. They had a really growing demand for like vibe coding projects, quote unquote, application building projects. It's like they're one of their fastest growing categories. Like we're talking upwards of $1 billion in volume per year. amazing demand, but on the supply side, like no real objective way to show freelancer competency in that space. So what we've done together is we've gotten a bunch of their freelancers certified in AI product development, and they are certified by us. So it's one, do they know how to use our platform? Are they good at it? Have they shown a number of different projects that they've worked on? And then they get that certification, and now people who are browsing Upwork, and they've got over 700,000 clients on there who are always looking for freelance talent. They can filter by folks who have that level of certification that is outside
Love that.
and certified. That's like one example. I'll share maybe one more of a partner who had a problem that we were able to solve really quickly. One was with HubSpot. HubSpot kind of existed as this like mid-market tool for a while, right? But given, I guess maybe with AI or, I think a number of factors, there's so many more like smaller, more entry level teams who now might be ready for something like a HubSpot, whether it's because of the demand, like how important email marketing is now, or what have you. So they've been working with a lot of founders, SMB startups, and the problem for that demographic is like empty state CRM, right? If you spend all these hundreds, thousands of dollars for the CRM, and you've never used a CRM before and it's empty, you're going to churn, right? You're not going to be getting any
Yeah.
value out of any of their great, powerful features. So we built an application with them that would let founders in like one click, based off their ICP, import a bunch of contacts that fit that ICP to their HubSpot instance directly, right? So that solves the problem of empty state CRM and greatly improves the stickiness of that HubSpot user. So they were willing to, the two examples of companies who were willing to, one had a big problem that was affecting business outcomes, and then two had a really strong urgency to solve that problem. We were able to come in, build something really cool together, get it out there, and pretty quickly. Always can go faster, but pretty quickly.
That's amazing. That's very interesting. It's good to hear that. I love the specific examples and like knowing. I think some of those tech integrations, there's so many cool things you do with partners. We'll get into that, but the technical integrations and those similar use cases, and I really appreciate the matrix. Reminds me of the Eisenhower matrix, which is a great one, and very very good work there. The kind of coming
Thank you.
down the home stretch here, we obviously the pod being always be testing, talk about real time experimentation, and I'm wondering like how are you thinking about that, and what are some of the big maybe ahas or surprises you've had maybe over the last month of like experimentation and what you've seen?
Yeah, absolutely. I think like this Remy alpha in itself is like, you could argue it's one big experiment, right? We're really surprised, and yeah, I think we discussed this a little bit in the pod, but Remy is brought to you by the folks who built Mind Studio. We've been in the AI automation, workflow automation space for upwards of 3 years now, and to me, it was really surprising just like how quickly people got it. Like we were out there launching this, yeah, there's like, we're still in the AI space. Like we're still doing similar things, but this is like a totally new product, right? And I was really surprised how quickly people got it and how much demand there was, even for like an alpha stage product, especially with all the noise that's out there. We just wrapped up our alpha, had 1,000 users in the alpha. And these users collectively spent over $300,000 in tokens, in compute and inference, to build their applications, right? Like that's a lot of skin in the game, from a wide variety of individuals. These range from like organizations, and teams, to founders who are trying to get a new product off the ground. And it's really cool. And I'll flip you just like really quickly one of our internal dashboards just so that you can get a visual here. This is all like unidentifiable customer data, but you can see here, like we have users, like these are like individual user accounts, like
Yes.
might represent, larger teams, but who are spending, tens of thousands of dollars in some instances, really just develop, whether it's on one app and they're going really deep with it, or developing apps across their
Love that.
organization for a multitude of use cases. So this is I mean, I don't know if surprising is the right word, but really validating for us as we're in this alpha
Yes.
stage, and I think will set us up well for what's ahead in beta.
I love that. It's so cool to see, and I I love seeing the visuals. I love seeing real time, and then to be able to say, hey, this is a test that we've got some learnings on is extremely appreciated and powerful. Um, so bringing it all together, it's been great. There's been a lot of things talked about in terms of like beta and all the testing and data driven thinking and talking to customers. Um, it If there's some things that you kind of think about that maybe didn't go so good in the data,
Mhm.
but you're kind of like, okay, how do I make sense of this? What did it teach us about our audiences? What are some of
Mhm.
those? Right? Maybe your favorite failure.
Yeah, totally. And Ty, I don't know if you're gonna like this one, so we can cut it or go in a different direction as we go along here. But I'll say this, right? Like, I think like something that we did too early was
Oh, influencers.
spending big money on some big influencers. And I think like it was,
Yep.
maybe we thought it'd be like a surefire win, right? Like we would drop a bunch of
Yeah.
money, we'd go viral, right? And then we can kind of sit back and and relax and let that hype take us away. We've had really great success with
Yeah.
influencers and content creators in the past. YouTube specifically has been a fantastic, like YouTubers have been a great channel for us. Specifically like dedicated content, not so much ads and mid roll and that kind of thing, but dedicated videos have been really fantastic for us. But I think maybe it was a little bit too early with Remy. I think like investing more of our time early on in like nurturing that alpha audience, bringing on like hand holding bait, like, and which is what we're doing now is really hand holding organizations to join our beta as like our like founding pilot partners, and really hand holding them, giving them a lot of support, and preferential treatment, helping them
Yeah.
really find all those different use cases there. I think that would have been a better use of our time and resources, versus trying to jump on the hype change for a product that was still in alpha, still had like it was, we communicated, it was still bumpy at times, wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
I think that dollar value could have been spent elsewhere.
Yeah. I love the example because it's like we're of the mindset of like, oh, look, things work and things don't. We want to compete with the best of the marketing levers, and I think it's healthy and effective to obviously share openly those. And I think, as you alluded to, right, sometimes some things are slightly earlier, but sometimes maybe bigger on those tests can sometimes not always be better in the influencer game specifically. So I have no doubt that when we get into details of influencer and reviews and partners, like we'll find a way, we'll find a methodology, we'll find a valuable piece that wins and works. So, but it's not for every business. It's not for every stage. And I think you're
Hmm.
appreciate the transparency. And I think that's our game too, to be like, let's let those cards land as they do. You would rather compete in the hardest of MMM models to make sure that things are working and as efficient as
Totally.
once you get sophisticated enough to even get there. And
Yeah.
so it's all good.
Totally. And I
More
like,
to come.
I think like, and I
Um,
think like actually,
yeah,
and I actually think working with um, professionals on this are really important because they can help. uh, let you know when is the right or wrong time, and maybe help you avoid some of these failures or some of these iterations. And or if you know, depending on, like, maybe there are certain things that you can do at one stage that actually is effective, right? So I think like we kind of threw a bunch of money at at some big names that or that we thought were big names too. I think so much of what's out there now is gamified, and it's really actually hard to, like, even with a discerning eye, it's really hard to be able to make sense of what engagement is real and what's not. And you see these big numbers and your eyes light up and you're like, oh wow, like this could be really great for us. And then it's not. You like spend $10,000 and you get like 6 new users out of it. Like true story. It's
Yeah.
like
No,
not always.
totally.
It's like not always the best going in blind,
Appreciate
and it
it.
is actually really helpful. I think to have a bit of guidance in navigating this space for sure.
I love it. I love it. Let's just going down the home stretch, get some personal to get to
Okay.
know Danielle a bit.
Okay.
Gonna
Sounds good.
cut through some of it, but the trip stuff was awesome. Like, love to hear your perspective on those. The dream trip or the
Yeah.
recommendation.
Yeah, my dream trip is Egypt for sure. It's been on the list for a while. I just think like the level of history and just like the pyramids, man. Like, do I need to elaborate? It's so cool. And then for folks, I
Yeah,
recommend this was
beautiful.
it was so beautiful, right? The For folks who haven't been to Mexico City yet, I think it is such a great spot, whether it's for just pure vacation or digital nomad or some combination of the two.
Love it.
Such a rich and vibrant city, so much to do there, from nature to city life to food and everything. So I
Yeah,
really recommend it, and go for a while. Don't skip out on on
it's
that one.
it's high up on my list. Danielle, you've been
Yes.
amazing. It's been a pleasure. You covered a ton, and I just want to thank you for
But
coming on. I'll talk to you all
my
soon, and
pleasure.
until next time, thanks, Danielle.
Thanks everybody. Thanks, Ty.
Bye.
See you next time. Bye.